Good morning, grade 5s and 6s. I hope you're having a good day. So I'm going to repeat the instructions I already gave you, just to make sure we're all on the same page. I want you to watch this video and then come back to our group chat for some practice. So do not immediately start the work pages. After you watch this video, come back to chat and we're going to practice to make sure you understand how to do this work. Okay? So we're going to talk about rounding. Now, rounding is just the process of finding the nearest 10 or nearest 100 or the nearest 1,000 or the nearest 10,000, etc. Okay? So what that means is if we're finding the nearest 10, we're either going to do 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 or 50 or 60 or 70 or 80 or 90. If we're finding the nearest 100, it's going to be 100, 200, 300, etc. See how that goes? Nearest 1,000, it's going to be 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, going all the way up to 9,000. And then nearest 10,000 will be 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, etc. Okay? That's all that rounding is. We just want to find out what the nearest 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, million, whatever it is. We just want to find which one's closest. Okay? Now, when I say which one's closest, what I mean is if we're rounding to the nearest 10, and I have the number 427, okay? What I'm actually trying to figure out is I'm trying to figure out what the nearest 10 is to the 27. Well, the nearest 10 is a 30. That's simple enough. We can know that. We know that 27 is between here and here. 27 is between 20 and 30, and it's closer to 30, isn't it? But we have to leave the 4 on in the front. That's really important. So the thing you have to remember when you're rounding, this is really, really key, is let's say you have 42,381 and you're rounding to the thousands place, okay? Everything on this side has to be zeros, okay? That's really, really key. If you don't turn those into zeros, you have a problem. We're rounding to thousands, so see how many zeros are in our thousands? That's what we're looking at, okay? Then this side over here, we do different things with it depending on what our instructions are. And I'm going to go over that with you, all right? So in this case, because we're rounding to the thousands place, it's always the neighbor that's bossy, okay? So in this case, the 3 is bossy. The 3 is the one that wants to tell what to do, okay? So this 3 right here is the boss. And it's going to tell the 2 what to do, okay? And in this case, the 3 tells the 2 to stay the same. So 2 stays a 2. We know everything on this side becomes zeros because we already talked about that. So the 4 also stays the same. Sorry about that. All right. So that's the way it works, okay? So let me give you the rhyme to help you remember, okay? So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, don't add more. Okay? 4 and more rhyme. That's how you remember. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Don't add more. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Climb the vine. Okay. And 9 and vine climb. So what does that mean? Don't add more means the number stays the same. It does not get smaller. This is a mistake a lot of people make. They go smaller. We don't want to go smaller. This was a 3 right here. That's in our section here. So that's in our don't add more section. But I didn't make the 2 smaller. I did not turn the 2 into a 1. That would be a mistake. I don't add more. I stay the same. It's still a 2. When I'm all done, it's still a 2. Okay? And then climb the vine means add exactly 1. Not 2, not 3, not 4, not 6, just 1. Add exactly 1. So let's practice some of these. Let's start with some a little bit simpler. Let's start with 2,843. Okay, we're going to round to the tens place. Right there, that's the tens. Now remember what I said. The bossy one, the one that gives directions, is the one beside it. The 3 is the bossy one, and the 3 is right here. So the 3 is in the don't add more category. So 4 stays the same. Okay? Because we're not adding more. 3, of course, becomes a 0. Remember what I said? Everything on this side of the number that we're talking about is a 0. So 3 becomes a 0. And 2 and 8, they don't change. They just stay exactly the same. All right, let's try another one. What if I have the number 67,924? Okay? And this time we're going to round to the thousands place. So again, we do the same thing. We look at its neighbor on the right-hand side, never on the left-hand side. Always the neighbor that's on the right. And in this case, we have a 9. Well, the 9 is right here, which means we're climbing the vine. But it's not the 9 that's climbing the vine. The 9 is giving this one directions. The 9 is being bossy to this one. So the 9 says to the 7, climb the vine. And remember, we add exactly 1. So the 7 becomes an 8. And again, remember, we said everything on this side of our important number, in this case our important number is this one, because we're rounding to the thousands, becomes zeros, like that. And everything on this side stays the same. So now we have 68,000. Okay? It's really simple. It's exactly the same as if you were just rounding this right here. Without the 68 on it, you round that, you get 8,000. And then the 6 just comes back on in front. So this rhyme up here is really important. You're going to want to remember this rhyme, and you're going to want to remember when it says don't add more that you are not getting smaller, you're staying exactly the same, like we did in this example, where the 4 stayed a 4. It didn't get smaller. Okay? And in the next one, we want to make sure when we add exactly 1. The 7 became an 8. It didn't get too much bigger. Now, one of the mistakes a lot of people make when they do that is when they have a number like this. 65,281. And we're going to round to the thousands again. Okay? So again, the number on the right, the 2, is the one that tells the other one to do. And the 2 is telling the 5 what to do. Okay? The 2 itself is not the number that we're rounding to. The 2 is the bossy one that's going to tell the 5 what to do. Okay? Now, a lot of you are going to look at this and you're going to say, oh, this is a 5, so it must be that we want, oh, didn't mean to erase that. Must mean that we want this one right here. But that's not true. It doesn't matter what this number is. The one that's giving instructions is the 2. And the 2 is right here. So the instruction to the 5 is don't add more. The 5 is going to stay the same because the 2 is here, and that means don't add more. And then again, remember, everything on this side becomes zeros, and the 6 just stays a 6, just like that. Okay? And the last one we're going to do, and this is probably the hardest one, a lot of you are going to have trouble with, is let's say we have a number like 124,961. Okay? And we're going to round to the hundreds place this time. The place value is important, okay? We want to round to the hundreds place. Now, the one that tells it what to do, that's the 6. The 6 is a bossy one. And the 6 is going to tell the 9. Well, we know. We look up here, and we see the 6 is right here. That's adding exactly 1. And the 9 has to add exactly 1. So a lot of you are going to be tempted to do this. You're going to put a 10 in here because 1 more than 9 is 10. But that is not a good answer. Don't do that. We know we can't put 2 digits where there's only a 1-digit spot. So the 9 does have to become a 10. That's true. That's absolutely true. But we can't put a 10 in there. So we're going to leave the 0 there, and we're going to add the 1 to the 5. So the 9 becomes a 0 because the 0 from the 10 goes there. The 6 and 1 become zeros because everything on this side becomes zeros. And the 4 becomes a 5 because 4 plus the 1 from the 10 become 5. And then the 1 and the 2 just stay the same. All right, so here is your work. You're going to be looking at, this is for the grade 5s right here. Grade 5. But grade 6s, pay attention, okay? So grade 5s, what you're doing is you're circling the number that's bigger in each pair. Now when you're comparing numbers, you always want to look from this side, okay? So if I write these two numbers here, the 4 and the 4 are the same, so those don't help. Sorry, the 2 and the 2 are the same, they don't help. 4 and 4 is the same, that doesn't help. 2 and 2 doesn't help, 2 and 2 doesn't help. Oh, the only difference is right there, okay? This is the bigger number because 1 is more than 2. Let me give you another example. 69,299 versus 69,300. Okay, now you might look at that and say, oh my God, look at all those 9s. This must be the bigger number, but that is not true because we look here, 6, 6 the same, 9, 9 the same. Oh, right there, 2 and 3. Well, which number is bigger? 3 is bigger, so this number is the same. The other two digits, they don't matter. Okay? All right, here, order from least to greatest. Just pay attention. Make sure you put the smallest one first and the biggest one next. Here, you can write any number that's in between. So you could write 25168 because that's the very next number. Or you could write 29000. That's the one just before that. Or you could write any other number that's between those two. Don't write either of the ones I just told you. Okay? This one we already practiced last week. Which number is just before? Just before. So you're going to go one smaller. This one is right after. You're going to go one bigger. Just one bigger though, not 3 bigger or 10 bigger or 20 bigger. So if we go one smaller, we're going to do minus 1. If we're going to go one bigger, we're going to go plus 1. Just like that. Okay? This question here, how many numbers are there between? Don't count this number and this number. Only count the ones that are in between them. Okay? What number is 4 thousands less? Well, this is the thousands place. So what number is 4 thousands less than that? What number is 3 hundreds greater? This is the hundreds. What number is 3 hundreds greater? Okay. This one here I want to explain to you because you are making 6 5-digit numbers. Okay? They all have to be different. So let's do an example. Let's say we have the digit 2, 9, 0, 6, and 1. Okay? And we're making 2-digit numbers. So, of course, that's an automatic one, right? We can just use it in the same order. We could use it in the reverse order. Okay? We could start the number with a 9, and then put the 0 next, and then put the 2 and the 6 and the 1. The only thing we can't do, and we can just keep trying, okay? We can start it with the 6, put the 0 next, and then the 9 and the 2 and the 1. Or we can start 6, 1, and switch around the numbers. Here we had 1, 6, now we have 6, 1. There are so many possibilities here. The only thing that's not a possibility is numbers like this. Because this is not a 5-digit number. This 0 doesn't mean anything. Okay? This number is 29,061, 16,092, 90,261, 60,921, 61,290. But this one is 2,000. It's just a 1-digit number. So do not start your number with a 0. Okay? And then this is rounding to the nearest 10,000. We explained how to round. All right, this is grade 6 now, okay? Here, you just have to circle the biggest number in each pair. You watch the grade 5 section, you know how to do that. Here, you have to put the numbers in order. You watch the grade 5 section, you know how to do that. Here, you're putting numbers on a number line. This one's a little bit tricky. I want you to just look really carefully, pay attention to each of the ticks. I want to see how you do on this. We're going to spend more time on number lines tomorrow. So if you have a bit of trouble with it, that's okay, but do your best on it. Okay? This section is also just like in the grade 5 section, just with bigger numbers. Okay? Here you have to round. Each one of these, you're starting from here. You're going to round to 1 million, this number to 1 million. You're going to round this number to 100,000, and you're going to round this number to 10,000. Okay, so remember, you have to come back to class because we're going to practice rounding. All right, you come back to class as soon as you're done this video. Once you've successfully rounded 3 numbers for me, you can go and do your homework. I want everyone to come back, successfully round 3 numbers, and then go doing your homework. All right, great. Thank you, guys.